Daguerreo.
Who's asking?
I am.
Yeah? And who are you? I ain't Daguerreo, alright? You got the wrong guy.
I don't think so.
You know what I think?
I don't care.
I think you should die!
Always the same.
Hello and welcome to How to Be a Great GM presents the Training Grounds. My name is Guy and tonight we're going to be meeting a new GM and players as the GM takes us through another exciting adventure in the hopes of scoring well on the score sheet or improving an existing score. What am I talking about? Well, each of the GMs that are participating in Training Grounds have been given a predefined scenario that they will be required to run through the players tonight. The players are randomly drawn from those who volunteered to play in the game, as well as myself. And after 90 minutes of playing in the GM's world, the players and myself will get to score the GM based on certain criterion. The criterion I'm talking about is this. This is the scorecard that the GM will be aiming to try and hit the marks on. Now, bear in mind, the GM does not want to get the highest mark because that gives them no room for improvement or for betterment. This is not a competition about who is the best GM. This is a competition about oneself and improving on one's own abilities. Now, you can see we've got various categories there. We've got the rules. How are they applied? Are they applied correctly or at least appropriately? There's story categories. What's the tone or the pacing like? There are NPCs, critical elements of the game, of course. There's style, and then, of course, table management itself. So what will happen is each of the players and myself will give the GM a score out of 5, meaning that there will be a total of 25 points that they can score per item. And at the end of it, I will present the scorecard back to the GM and to you, the viewers, and take them through some of the salient points, areas that can be worked upon and improved upon for the following week. Of course, if this is the second week that they're participating, we will have that score sheet from last week. We will have a look at it and see where they should be aiming to improve. Now, at home, of course, you are watching this. You have that wonderful ability of not being completely ensconced within the game, not trying to play the game. So think kindly when you are judging these individuals and look at the scores and see how they would apply to yourself. At least that's part of the plan. But enough from me. Let's get on with the show and let's meet tonight's GM. Hello everybody and welcome to this evening's show. We've got GM returning for the first time in this series. So we're going to introduce you to her in a moment. And then we've got some new players who will be taking on the roles of the PCs, I should say, in tonight's game. So let's jump straight into it. And let me introduce you to Laura and the team. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Now, Laura, you ran a game session last week. How was it for you?
Nerve-wracking, but a lot of fun. Yeah, it was. It was very super nervous at first and even throughout, but I did enjoy it and I did learn a bit. Well, quite a lot actually, to be fair. Hopefully some of those things I can improve on.
There you are. Now, you also... was it what you expected it to be? Because this is not something that everyone has done before. Did it play out sort of how you expected it to go?
Like the adventure or the experience? Ooh. Kind of yes and kind of no. I have GM'd before and I kind of have like streamed before, but yeah, the two together was an experience.
Obviously not that bad an experience that you came back, so that's a good thing. I mean, that's the good thing. I did want to ask everybody, if your audio is seeming strange, just please let us know and we'll do our very best to try and bring that audio in. Now, in case you didn't catch last week's show, you can watch it on my YouTube channel, www.howtobeagreatgm or Game Master on YouTube. And I think I completely mixed up that one. Anyway, go find it on YouTube if you're not watching on YouTube, because we do stream both to Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. But let's bring up your score from last week and let's just have a look at those numbers there. Very good numbers across the board as far as anyone is concerned. There were some points that were a little lower, perhaps, than you'd like them to be. Laura, are you going to be focusing on anything specifically tonight?
Well, I think tone, which is kind of I just always sway to sticking comedy into things. I don't know if it's a reflex reaction of nerves or just me, but yeah, trying to keep a tone, um, and also maybe use a bit more on pacing and yeah, controlling the not controlling, but keeping the pace together a little better. I think were some of my feelings from last time that I'd like to try and work on.
Okay, those are both lofty ideals, and most of your other scores, your rules seem pretty solid, your NPCs seem great, your style is pretty great, table management, yeah, let's see what happens. So you've had now the adventure for a week, you've managed to prepare and plan for that, but our wonderful players, and we have a returning player who has been on the show before. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to play again and try something different.
There we go, absolutely. So let's just go on a round table through everybody. And let's start with James. Who are you going to be playing tonight?
Today I will be playing Sasha, the human fighter.
The human fighter. There you are. And I'm going to be playing Binsin, of course. And I cannot but not do an Irish accent. I'm sorry, when I think of a gnome, I think of little people. And it's just going to happen. So whoever's from Ireland, I apologise right now for the butchering that is about to happen to your favourite dialect. And Cornelia, who are you going to be playing?
I'm going to be playing Bracklor today, the little tiny dragonborn that's going to find a new shoulder to sit on, hopefully.
Absolutely. Chaz?
I'm playing Ishka, Tiefling Barbarian.
Tiefling Barbarian, yes. And then finally, Max?
We'll be playing Tajo Kubara, the Cleric of Life.
The Cleric of Life, there you are. GM, you have your players, you have your game, and now you have your time. You may start. You have 90 minutes.
The ship dockyard that you've just walked along was quite busy. The sounds of sawing and hammering and people shouting over the sounds of sawing and hammering. As you enter through the doorway to the shipmaster's office and close the door behind you, the sound muffles slightly, but it's still not what you would call quiet. The office is quite tidy, surprisingly. There are a lot of paperwork, but they're all stacked neatly. And behind the desk sits a halfling woman who looks slightly harassed, but is very well dressed, and looks at you over a pair of spectacles. Ishka, you hold in your hand the bounty note that you guys had picked from the board. You'd come into town recently looking for work, and you'd noticed that a bounty had been posted, something about some monster in a forest, to come to Sec Bowden, the shipmaster, for further information.
You say it's a female halfling?
Yes.
I twirl my moustache. I got this, gents. Don't you worry. I strut over to this woman behind the counter.
Good evening. Can I help you?
I just have to say that either the fishermen have been trying to get their catches from the heavens, or you're just an angel who fell from the sky.
Did you come here to waste my time, or did you have a purpose?
Ishka goes behind Vincent, smacks him on the head real hard, and just slams the bounty on the table.
Oh. Okay. Not time wasters.
We're here for work.
I see. She kind of looks you guys over, notices, the weaponry and things, and said, "Fair enough. You seem like a capable bunch." Yes, the job is as it says. There is monster in the forest that requires removing, or monsters.
Wonderful.
An ironwood grove nearby. We require the wood for our shipyard. However, there seems to have encountered a problem there.
Is the problem?
Honestly, we're not entirely sure.
So we have to do more work than just killing monsters.
The first party of loggers we sent up there did not return when they were supposed to. We sent some guards up to see what was going on, and before they even got there, they found one of the loggers raving mad, wandering the grasslands between here and the grove. They thought it prudent to bring him back.
There might be some magic involved.
Some of the guards went on ahead to check out, while some of them brought the man back. The guards who went along have not returned either. That was 2 days ago.
Incompetent.
Perhaps.
So, when you say came back mad, you mean like mad?
Raving about the forest coming alive and eating everybody, and claws and teeth in the night, and yes, ranting about it was all the king's fault, and well, that's all he did. Just stared wildly, not seeing people. So they say anyway. Those are the rumors. Who knows how exaggerated they are.
Weak of mind.
Careful, Ishka.
So what exactly is the payment for resolving this little issue of yours on the in the Ironwood Forest there?
100 gold.
Each?
No.
You can have my share, Vincent. I will just kill for payment. As long as you do nothing stupid.
We might have to define stupid, but we'll do that a bit later on. So everyone heard that, right? Iska's giving me her share, right? So that would be 50 gold to me, the rest to the three of you.
Matt checks out there, Vincent.
Right. So the Ironwood, you say, whereabouts is that?
It's only merely a couple hours northeast of the city.
Is this poor
Just before you
afflicted
get to the
Stoll
lodge.
still around for questioning? Or has he
No,
succumbed to
and-
his madness?
Unfortunately, he died last night.
See any bonus reward if we find these guards? Their bodies or something to bring back for their families?
I like your
Perhaps.
thinking. Wait, what do you mean perhaps? Either there is a reward or there isn't a reward.
I personally don't have a reward to give you for the return of the gods or their belongings, but their families may, hence perhaps.
I'm sure their heads on pikes will suffice. Their families will be grateful.
Yes. Grateful.
Then what do we wait for?
Fair point. All right. Well, he's going to let everybody else start to leave until hopefully he's the last one left behind.
If Ishka can, she's gonna grab him by like the collar and just slowly drag him out.
No, I had a thing. I was going to. Ishka. I appreciate the.
You can persuade her with money when you come back because your tongue seems to be ill-fitted.
I would never persuade a woman with money. Unless you think it's really cheap. Anyway.
As Taja leaves, he's munching on a bunch of grapes, and he's going to try to offer one to Bracklor, realizing this will look like him trying to eat a cantaloupe.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
We've really got to get you back to your right size again someday, Bracklor.
Yes, I'm waiting for that. I'm not very patient about it, so we better do it soon.
Does anyone know anything about the ironwood at all? It sounds outdoorsy.
I've heard of it, but any knowledge on what possible magics could cause this? Looking to Bracklor and possibly Tajo.
Anybody could either give me a nature or arcana checks.
Check. 15.
Actually,
What was that, sorry, James?
18.
18, right. Anybody else over 15? Or at 15? Okay. So was that nature or arcana?
Either or, they're both +0. We'll say nature.
Okay.
Arcana for Tajo.
Okay. So, Tajo, do you know that ironwood generally is made via magic? They don't generally just particularly grow. And there are a few known groves that have been produced by druids, generally several druids. There haven't been any produced now for a very long time. It seems that the druids may have just lost the method to make them. So the few groves that do remain are generally protected. Sasha, yeah, again, you would know the same, but you'll also know that like the creatures and stuff that generally tend to protect these forests are normally the druids themselves are magical, but they tend to use a lot of natural creatures and beasts and animals and things like that they would normally use to protect their groves, as it were. But they're not normally murderers, if that makes sense.
Yes, what I know of the groves is they are quite old, mostly made by magic from gnomish druids, but there hasn't been any new ones in quite some time.
I've heard as well, and it sounds like they are protected, but usually by natural creatures, so that would possibly explain the teeth.
Pepper? We're going to need pepper. It's always
What
been
are
my
you talking
experience
about?
when dealing with dogs. When you're trying to jump over a wall and you don't want the thing to follow you, you just drop behind some pepper. Gets up on their snoots, and then they don't know what they're doing. They can't follow you either. So, just go buy a bag of pepper.
Or
Maybe
you
that'll
can be
work.
big enough that they don't want to attack you.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But why do you think they want ironwood? If they're so rare, surely that's going to cause the druids to get a little bit upset, wouldn't it? If we're just chopping down the trees.
I would imagine it's the most effective for the shipbuilding. It's probably very resilient. Good for warships.
Can I ask just quickly, are you guys just standing outside? Or are you walking through the city as you're talking? Or
Hopefully walking towards the Ironwood or wherever we need to go next.
And Vincent will steer them towards the market as well in case he can buy some pepper.
As the others are talking amongst themselves, Bracklaw, you're sitting there, munching on your grape, looking around from your vantage point, and you manage to hear a psst, psst, coming from, seems like an alley that you're just passing to your left.
Right. Do you hear that?
Hear what?
Let's look into that alley. I think I heard something there.
Did someone drop some money?
Maybe.
One we can kill. I like this. Ishka pulls out her battle axe.
I've tried to explain it to you before, Ishka. If you go around killing everyone that you rob, you won't be able to rob them again because they'll be dead.
I don't need their money.
You see, that's the problem. Right there. That's the problem. I think we all sneak up towards the...
Sneak.
As you look towards the alley, there seems to, what at first just seems to be a pile of misshapen rags, but then you notice a grimy hand sort of beckoning as it sees you coming towards it, and it unfolds itself slightly into a humanoid shape. It's hard to tell exactly what it is underneath the grime and the pox and the rags, but it holds out its hand and coins. Yeah, coins, please. Also information.
Can Ishka cast thaumaturgy and make her eyes pure black and like look to them, point the axe at him? You'll tell us what you know, and then maybe my friend will give you a coin.
I'll roll an intimidation check.
Ooh. What's my bonus? 0. 19.
It shrinks back a little and goes, "No, there's no need for that. No, a man's gotta live, you know." You know.
No, you do not have to live.
Right. Well.
What is it you want?
Well, I want gold. If there was more what you want. But she's scary, so I'll just to tell you. I hear the monsters in the forest.
Go on.
Maybe not everything is as it seems. There. Bear that in mind, perhaps.
Okay.
This is all you know.
Could know more for gold.
Or a kick to the face.
You're very violent.
Taja will pull out a gold coin and offer it to this person, and as they exchange the coin, he will cast Spare the Dying as a cantrip, because he's convinced this person is about to collapse.
He snatches the coin quite quickly from your hand. Is the fastest thing he's done yet, and it disappears into the rags somewhere. And your spell kind of goes over him, and nothing really seems to change within him. You feel better. It might have done some good, but he goes, "There's some kind-hearted people about."
Yes, information.
The loggers that they sent. Old Sen. They were more than just loggers. As he's coughing as well, you can eventually just get this wave of this guy's got whatever meal he last ate, which looked weeks ago, probably still stuck in his teeth, and the smell is not, it's unpleasant.
Bracklord just leans back as much as he can without falling off the shoulder.
What's the matter with you? You've never seen a beggar before.
When you
Says looking at you.
Cough that way, thank you.
It's not catching. Anyway,
Anything?
The loggers. Yeah, I know loggers. I've seen them, many around these parts. They weren't just loggers.
What were they? What do you suppose they were then?
They looked like, well, fighting men.
Okay. Taja will start to back away very slowly.
So you mean it was something that was sent in there to kill whatever it was that was in there rather than cut down a tree?
I wouldn't presume to know, just what I saw.
I can give you some information if you like.
I didn't get this all by being stupid, lad.
Well, it's worth a shot.
Ishka gives Benson a coin. What do you know?
Well, I don't know. What do you want to know?
I thought you were going to give information for money. Give it back.
No. I'll give you some information instead. It never rains on the plains, but only on the coastline occasionally. So you should wear a hat when you're at sea, because of seagulls.
Interesting. I will bring this back to Avernus.
Yeah, you do that. Right. Are we done with this thing? Can we go get some pepper?
Yes.
I don't think we need pepper.
No, I don't think we need pepper either. So it sounds like they sent in an army to go and do whatever it is that they're trying to do in there.
And then they stepped in it.
Few mercenaries, possibly to clear out any druids that might be offering resistance.
So that begs the question then. If we're going in to go and try and find these mercenaries who are sent in to try and take out the druids, are we going to be taking out druids?
Sure.
I mean, that
No
seems
matter.
to be the payday.
Druids.
What are druids like? Should we take them something like a twig or a
An
bush?
axe to the neck.
An axe to the neck. I was thinking more of like bartering. It's like, here, we'll give you this nice shiny little stick and you give us the mercenaries back.
If they like stick.
I don't know what druids like.
To not be disturbed in their nature. I do not know if there's anything we could offer them that would not cause them irritation.
So a cushion then, maybe. Something nice to sit on the ground.
We
Right.
can find out when we get there.
It'll just be a moment, if you don't mind. I'll catch up with you. We're going out the main north gate, or is that right?
There is a north gate out of the city. Yes, it's probably the closest gate to get to the forest. It was like an hour or so travel northeast of the city, she had said.
I'd just go and buy some cushions. In case.
I will go with Vincent to make sure he does not get lost.
No, that
and
would
then
really,
bring him
that's,
back.
you don't need to bother yourself with that. I mean, that's going to slow you down. I mean, you've got to
You
protect.
have valuable information I need to learn, of course, for Avernus. I must follow.
How about we just look for cushions along the way, and if we find some, great. If not, we'll figure it out. How about
Even
that?
better idea.
Of all the people, Sasha, I would have thought you would have known what I was going to go and doing. It's fine, let's go to the north gate without cushions then, whatever. Vincent's in a mood now, he can't steal anything, he's just grumbling.
Time and place, Vincent. Time and place.
Is there anything anybody else would like to do before you leave the city on your journey, Bracklaw? Okay, so you guys head out of the city gate, and true enough, it's quite a nice day. It's quite warm down by the coast, and you guys set off, and it's a reasonably pleasant walk. You can see the grove, the kind of from where you are, because there's a lot of grasslands between here and there, and you can see the mountain range where the forest is tucked up in, where there's a little kind of makes a half circle almost, above half circle, the mountains that the forest is tucked into, and the grove is there. The whole forest is not ironwood, it's just a grove of it within the forest itself. And eventually you guys get to the forest's edge. As you approach, you kind of notice that possibly there used to be an old road leading through here. It's overgrown a little bit, but you can tell that at one time there was a paved road or something that ran through there years ago, possibly as old as maybe the grove is itself, that you guys can follow, I guess, if you want. And it
Great.
goes straight into the grove.
Did you say what time it was?
I know I said that the lady said good evening earlier, but that's just because it's evening now for me. It's actually about afternoon because it was in the morning.
We move into the forest. Taja will be keeping an eye peeled for signs of not just loggers, but now fighting men. As they're on the march, they tend to shed things as they move further and further on. Little bits of detritus or leftover wrappers from rations, things like that, to indicate that we are going on the right path.
Okay. So once you step into the forest, the light dims obviously because the trees have got quite a large panoply. Yes, I think that's the word. Yeah, canopy, that's it. And the trees are kind of spaced quite far out, and there's not a huge amount of foliage around because there's not a huge amount of sunlight that comes down to support it. So mostly ferns and things like that. And there's a sense of everything seems a little more subdued, not creepily or eerily so, just a little more subdued. But you do hear the sounds of animals and things scurrying around and birds and noises that you would naturally find within a forest. And if you can give me a perception check as you look out for your signs.
Oh, that is a 22.
Bracklow wants to look out too because he's afraid that there will be too many insects here and they seem quite large to him. So, it's just like keeping a watch on those.
Anybody that wishes to, yes, can give a perception check.
Ishka's gonna use thaumaturgy once again. She's gonna create an effect of ominous whispers around the group and have like a little smirk to herself as she does so.
Everybody suddenly hears this on the wind.
Ishka, are you doing the ominous whispers thing again?
I would never. This is obviously from the woods. Bracklord, do you know of magic of this in the woods that could cause this?
I can think about it. Give me a second. Would that be...
You could give me a quick Arcana check?
Yeah. Well, that's a 9.
That's fine. It's enough. As a fellow magic user, you very definitely sensed Ishka casting the spell.
I think it's just the forest welcoming you, Ishka.
This is the sound it makes when it's welcoming you. What the hell sound does it make when it's telling you to leave?
Don't think you'd be able to hear it as your head would fly off.
Oh, nice place. Nothing to steal, nothing of value, just great big trees, just treeing everywhere.
Steal the lives of its denizens.
Tajo, you notice as your party members are conversing amongst themselves. Yes, indeed, on the old road, that still kind of like cuts a bit of a path through the forest, although it is overgrown slightly. You can see recently, like the tracks of carts that seem reasonably fresh in the ground because they're quite deep. Which they would have been if they'd been laden down with materials and equipment and possibly weaponry.
They have
and it
passed
does
through
seem
here
to.
recently.
Can you tell if they came out? Maybe she was lying to us. Maybe they went in, they killed whatever it is. They came out again?
Do I see more than one set of tracks?
It's hard to tell because there were several carts, and since a wheel makes the same impression going there and back, and possibly if they did come back, they might have just used the original ruts, because why make new ones when you can...
It's difficult to say. But if they're still missing, presumably they did not come out.
What do you think, Sasha? What do you think is the best approach here? I can't see anything. It's just... it's stuff.
Surprises me, Benson. I swore you were an outdoorsy type.
Right, yes. Outdoors of someone's house. That means I'm about to become an indoor type of person. Then you go outdoor again when you don't want to be caught indoors. It's a simple logic. This is just... I mean, this...
Just kind of pat Benson on the head before he starts going off again. Well, I think if we want to find this bounty, maybe the most direct approach would be the easiest. Just head into the forest and see what we can see. Perhaps they'll come to us.
I like this plan.
So you follow the tracks and the road. After about, I'll say maybe 20 minutes of walking, towards your left, you notice a thinning in the trees, and the cart tracks seem to pull off here now. They kind of like weave between the trees a little bit to get through. And you can see just through the trees the shapes of tents. Well, they were tents.
Vincent, you could find possibly something among that area. If you...
I'll just go have a gander. You know, maybe they left the stove on and someone needs to turn it off, or, you know, bag of gold under a pillow and someone needs to take care of it in case someone comes along and tries to steal it. I mean, you know, it's just, forest is full of strange things, apparently.
Yell if you need help.
Well, so Vincent is going to try and sneak around to the back of the tents, just casually sneaking.
I'll check them. As you move forward through the...
Help! I'm stuck! Something's eating me! I'm dying! It's reached out and it's just grabbed me! What is this stupid thing? It's a bush! It's got... It hurts. I'm stuck.
I rolled a natural 1 for my stealth check.
Surprisingly, to the rest of you, there are no sounds coming from the camp, even in response to Vincent's frantic screaming.
Okay. Just kind of like pulls him out of the bush and shakes him off.
That was very unpleasant.
Are you injured? Do you require healing?
Yes. Look.
That is a
thorn.
splinter.
Yes.
That is a thorn, yes. He plucks it out.
It's too well guarded.
Or maybe you could fly up and give us a bird's eye view, as it were. Dragon's eye view?
Yeah, I can try that. I'm gonna use my flying speed and fly near to the lowest leaves of the trees so that maybe I'm not as visible, and just fly towards the tents and look what I can see.
Yeah, you manage to, you're small enough as you fly between the trees, and you notice again the stillness. Like there's no movement within the camp that you can see or anything like that. No sounds coming from it. No smells of smoke of campfires either. And as you get closer and you get a better view as a large glade opens up in front of you, the campsite looks like it was ransacked by, you're not really sure. The tents are tossed over, crates are knocked over, the tents seem torn and rent. Yeah, that is what you see before you.
Okay. Do I see any like clear tracks leading away from the tents, or is it just destruction around the area?
There seems to just be destruction around the area on your cursory glance, as your cursory look. You can't see from this side where the tracks lead out.
Okay. I'll just fly back, land on Tasho's shoulder again, and be like, well, that was quite a distance. I'm not used to this much exercise anymore. But it looks like somebody just destroyed the whole place. It looks ugly. They don't have any value left over there, and I don't think we can find anything interesting or useful there, but maybe we should check out what happened.
Just one moment, but the sun has decided to try and blind me. Just 1 second.
So you're saying it's completely destroyed and there's absolutely nothing of value?
I'm saying all the tents are torn over and it looks like somebody just ransacked it for the fun of it. If I didn't know better, I would say Ishka was already there, so, you know.
Who knows? Maybe.
Hey, Tajo,
Yes.
why can you never run past tents?
I do not know.
It already happened.
Ha! You got it! That's right, you can only ran past them. Because it's past tense. Get it?
That's a good one.
I'm surprised you got that one, Ishka. Is humor something that they do down there where you come from?
That was not funny.
I thought it was
Mine
very
is
funny.
That was my outdoors joke.
inspiration?
Okay, I'm done. I'm just done. Benson just starts walking into the circle of
No,
tents.
no, Benson. It was very good, very funny.
Well, thank you very much. There's someone who has a good appreciation of humor. And as I'm walking into the tented area, I am looking around to make sure that there is absolutely nothing of value that has been left behind. Because, you know, I mean, Bracklaw, little eyes might not see all of the things.
Is everybody following along behind Vincent? Okay, so I'll just go around. Tajo, what are you doing when you get into there? What are you looking for, or?
I will be looking at the tents and see if I can try to determine if this tearing was done by like a bladed weapon, or if this is something that was more like claws and teeth type of thing. So looking at the damage and trying to determine natural or unnatural.
Gotcha. Sasha?
Sasha would probably go in and check around, see if these actually were lumberers or if they were the men-at-arms that we're trying to track, and just trying to get a gauge, you know, who these people were and if there's any, you know, signs of if the bodies were drugged away or how long ago this attack was.
Ishka?
Just a bit hurt that Benson doesn't think she has humor. So while he's searching the camp, she's gonna mess with him using like thaumaturgy to create tremors, or throwing tents on top of him and like dragging him away, and laughing the whole time.
Bracklow.
Bracklow is gonna help Tajo because he doesn't want to fly around anymore. So if there's any small spaces or anything, he's gonna look into it and see if he can see something that the bigger people can't.
Okay then, so what we're just gonna do is just do quickly a series of skill challenges, as it were, kind of thing. So I'll do is we'll do that, and the target to beat will be 14. See, so the first check would be perception. So anybody can roll this, but you can only roll once, and once you've rolled, then it'll be somebody else's choice. So if somebody wishes to volunteer to roll a perception check at first.
I'm being attacked by a tent, apparently, so I don't think it should be me.
What? I'll take a look around.
Okay.
A natural 20.
Okay. So you quickly realize that the damage on the tents seems to be their tears and rents in them, and they like the poles and stuff that held them up have been smashed as well. So they were like hit or beaten or had things thrown against them, as well as having things tear or claw through them. Some of them seem just like puncture holes, some like tears as if like a claw, but some of them could have been done by weaponry. Yeah, so and they don't all look the same, as if a variety of things possibly could have caused the damages here to the tents. The next thing we would ask for is the investigation check.
It touched me. I'll do it. I've got to get away from those tents. There's something... 9. It moved, I tell you. That tent, there is something in there. It's weird. This nature thing is for the birds.
Every time you go to have a look around, it's just this little flick behind your ear, or a loud bang goes off just as you're kind of listening for something. And and suddenly there's a big swirl of leaves that just shoot up in front of your face when you're trying to look for stuff, and they get in your mouth, and all the while you can just hear Ishka's people cackling in the background.
It's good for you. It builds character.
It's disease, that's what it is. It carries disease. There's fungus and whatever. It's horrors.
The next check we'd call for would be a nature check.
So that would be either from...
Brakloa's
hasn't
gonna
rolled
try,
yet.
yes.
+0.
Oh! Brakloa had such a good overview from on top, so he really sees everything now because he got a 22.
Oh, nice. So that was the nature check, wasn't it?
Yes.
You kind of, as you got that bird's eye view of looking down, you can see now impressions like in the ground, because assuming you're still on Tajo's shoulder, that seem more animalistic. There's a lot of like booted feet and imprints and things in the ground, but there also seems to be some large like clawed paws as well. That seem to be, you catch the odd one mingled in amongst the footprints. And with a 22, you would say possibly some kind of bear, maybe? Like that kind of creature.
I just get Tajo to walk over to one of the spots that I noticed. Like, look at this. I think that's some kind of big bear or something. I think I saw some of them in the circus back home. We like to watch them, you know.
Bear or some large cat.
Okay, so that's they seem quite like very large, easily twice the size of, say, who's the biggest in the pot? It's like Sasha's like hand spread out. Sasha would easily be able to fit her hand splayed out inside the footprints.
Footprints, do they have claws out, or does it just like the pad of the foot?
Oh, there's the claws as well.
Probably rules out a cat because they can take them back in. I would say a bear.
So you're saying we should have brought steak with us?
Oh, we did. We have you, Benson.
You know what, statements like that that really cut me deep. They cut me to the quick. They
It's all out
really
of love.
I could cut you deep.
No, figure of speech. Figure of speech. Didn't anyone see that thing over there? Just move.
The last check, is it the last now? Hang on, sorry, I was on track. Yeah, an Arcana, if anybody has.
Sure, Ishka will do it if she's like one of the last ones.
I
She's
think
got
we
plus
have
one.
Ishka
I got a plus
and
0, so.
Sasha.
Yeah, if you want to do it, you can. I have a +1, so
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. Nice. 11.
Okay, with an 11, you notice the silence.
It is quiet.
Well, except for that thing. And that thing.
No, it is quiet. You are insane. And then ominous whispers around Benson.
I think I know what that logger was talking about. There's weird things in this forest.
This is good fun. This is humor, Benson.
Weirder than us?
Wait. What do you mean this is your doing, isn't it? You've been casting all that strange demonic nonsense.
I would never. I wouldn't dream of it. You are my greatest friend.
Well,
Well, let's just go back. We'll just tell them that we didn't find anything. They're all dead, and there's just nature out here. Just lots and lots of nature, and it should stay here. And we should just go back to the city and tell them that everyone's dead.
They found the bear.
Yeah.
Yes.
What bear? Did someone say beer?
No, bear.
Oh,
Like bear.
that's really big footprint, Atlas.
Do the footprints lead off into the forest?
They do lead off. Sasha, you were looking for bodies and things like that, because you you succeeded on the amount of successes that you needed before failures to get all the information that you needed. There are none. You very distinctly noticed, as everybody's looking for tracks and things. I mean, you all probably noticed, but because Sasha was very specifically looking, there are no bodies. As you look about, though, you do see some bloodstains and such as well, and there are dropped weaponry, swords, some spears, nets, in amongst the stuff that's being pushed over. Yes, there is logging equipment amongst it, so perhaps they were supposed to log as well as maybe it was just to defend themselves, but there does seem to be more weaponry perhaps than most loggers would probably have.
Are there any like great big two-handed weapons that Ishka can snag?
Roll me a d20 and then say high or low.
Oh, well, I rolled a 3, so I'm assuming not.
You look around. Unfortunately, most of these, for all that they were lumberjacks or whatever, most of these tended to prefer swords and crossbows.
Well, on the way back, we can pick these up and sell them back at the market.
That's right.
Extra coin.
Ancient relics of the druids. One-of-a-kind swords. How many swords are there? They're like 5 or 6, right?
There's yeah. What you can see scattered around, there's 3 or 4, but you looked. Obviously, the campsite's in a mess, so they could be more scattered elsewhere if you chose to have a good scrummage around, specifically looking for all the weaponry or whatever that was here. What you guys can determine from all the investigations is that it seems that something like an animal or it came through this place. It took everything away with it, but also just one bear probably wouldn't have been able to take down and caught off a well-armed mercenary band. You guys know that. So there's probably still more going on here than you can realize, and you're quite sure as well, like the roots of the trees around this tent seem to just be set a little higher above the ground than you'd noticed in the rest of the forests. Like there seems to be more sticking, like, going over the surface, as it were. And as we mentioned, some of the tears and punctures in the tents besides just claws.
That possibly these druids summon the woods themselves to protect.
I mean,
with what the crazy old person said.
The actual trees are going to eat us.
Remember that bush, only larger, more angry.
I can rustle up 100 gold singing in a tavern one night. I have a beautiful singing voice. I say we just go back to town and we just tell him that, it's crazy druids and everything's just gone to pot. Don't go chopping down trees. Build boats out of paper or steel or whatever.
Where's your sense of adventure, Benson? I think we should go on.
And no bodies means no personal effects, which means no extra reward.
I know that much. There's definitely going to be some bear that's, out in the woods somewhere and has a great big pile of bodies full of their personal effects. Do you think bears eat the bones? Like the teeth, like gold teeth? Do you think they might just leave those on the side as like, can't chew that, I'm going to put that aside for later maybe?
Well, pretty sure they chew it, but it is recoverable, if you get my meaning.
Cut open its insides.
Right. So there's a little bit of hope there. Bracklor, you're a beastie. What do you think? Was this done by, a bear or a tree?
Well, it looks like there was definitely a bear involved, but one bear by himself wouldn't be able to do that, so he must have had help. I'm not familiar with walking trees or trees that come to life, I think, so not sure about what help he got.
We're looking for a flock of bears. I like it.
Let us go.
Bears don't come in flocks, silly. A voice speaks.
Now, Ishka, I told you about casting that magic spell on me again. I'm not falling for it.
This
Well, I
could be
heard
my
that one
father
too.
You're what?
or my uncle. Maybe my brother.
And
You have family?
while they're talking, Sasha will draw the sword, her great sword, and just kind of look around. Great sword.
Oh, come now. I'm sure there's no need for that. I tall friends there. As out from between the trees, or from behind a tree, you're not entirely sure. It just seems to step out from behind a tree. Is this tall, willowy woman. As she steps out and she tucks her hair behind her ear, you notice that she's half elven. And she's wearing a white shift that at once seems chaste and evocative, or both at the same time. She's barefoot as she steps into the campsite towards you all. Greetings. Welcome to my forest. What brings you here?
It's a druid.
Should we kill her? Should we just...
Just not quite yet. Yes, we have come to remove any obstacles from your forest. We are looking for a misguided band of individuals who came in here and seems to have lost their way. Have you?
Ah,
do you
yes,
know where
I
these people
already
are?
rid the forest of that nuisance. It's fine.
Aha.
What about their gold? My little friend here wants it. I'm sure you
Gold.
have no use.
True, I have little use for gold. It will be with the bodies, though.
Okay.
And they are.
You would have to ask the trees that.
Ishka turns to the nearest tree. Where is body?
It's a tree.
She... Hello? Knocks on it.
Did she not like that?
Do I have to cut it down first?
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
Okay. I tried, Vincent, and I'm sorry.
Appreciate the effort.
So who are you?
Hanath. This is my grove.
Yes, I
Are
thought
these
they
men?
looked a little like ironwood, yes.
They violated the treaty. I only did what was in my right to do.
What kind of treaty are you talking about?
Well, the one between myself and the king, of course.
And what does that treaty propose as rights for both sides?
And you are, before I give out that kind of information, the treaty was between King Thodrick and myself. All of you know that King Thodrick is not in charge anymore. He died a couple of months ago and his son has stepped into power.
Well, I am the great Bracklor. I was one of the major nobles in my court, and I have come here to traverse these lands. And I must tell you that the king has had to leave the throne, and his son is now in reign. So we have come to make sure that everything is still in order, and all places are well kept, of course.
I was not aware that your kind had grown so small.
Well, it is just a special experiment, but I will return to my size once I am done with that test.
I see, yes. quite. Oh, well, I am not sure. Now, the treaty has stood for, well, many years. The king, and again with the king before him, they all came and made the same treaty. I was not aware there was a new king, as no new king has come to uphold the treaties. Though I suppose it seems like he's not.
We have brought king with us. Point to Benson. He certainly thinks he is king.
Oh.
But I'm not exactly the king who violated your treaty.
Oh, I did not think so.
The king's death, there is no more treaty, so there was nothing to violate, so you murdered these men?
The worst you could do. How dare you?
I defended myself.
So they attacked you from their tents and this camp?
They had attacked me the night before. We had a battle. I barely escaped with friends. I came back to finish the job.
Just to be absolutely and totally certainly clear, we're not the same people that attacked you last night. We're very different from them. As a matter of fact, we're not. We didn't even know their names. So, just to be absolutely clear on that fact, just in case anyone was wondering.
There were some that came later.
Not our friends either. Didn't know about them.
They were less nasty. Those are not dead.
Where are they?
Safe. Looked after.
Could we take them back to the king for punishment?
I'm not entirely sure the king would punish them.
This king would.
Sure.
Do you want them punished?
They only came seeking information about those who had went before.
Ah.
I figured if the treaty was being broke, then perhaps also as well, hostages are a bargaining chip. I am not cruel, and I am looking after them.
I suppose these are our missing guards that came after the lumberers then.
Ishka, not too subtly, whispers to Sasha, "Aren't we supposed to kill the beast for money?"
Yeah.
Beast. Is that what people call me?
How did you hear me?
There are
Witchery.
people in the city along the coast that I'm sure you're aware of that view your presence as a threat. It's true, we were dispatched here to investigate and remove the threat. However, if you can prove to us that you are not a threat, then maybe we can come to some sort of accord. You get paid and you keep your grove.
I keep my grove regardless, to be fair. It's whether I keep it with less stress. The original treaty was simply we allowed the crown to take an allowance of ironwood trees per year. In return, they did not just come and try to cut them all down. There was no war. Also, we serve as defense against the border along the mountains. There are many things in the mountains that, well, come down. In return for them not coming and starting a war with us, we also defend the mountain borders. That has been the deal for hundreds of years. And now they choose to break it.
They've been cutting down more trees than normal.
The screams of my children woke me in the night. They would try to cut down that many.
That's very unfortunate. My hand kind of sets on Benson's shoulder. But if we were to broker a new treaty with the king, surely that would be a lot of reward. Perhaps we could act as envoys.
To do that? Yes, that would be agreeable to me. I would prefer a new treaty set up. Although,
He says,
surely the new king knows that a treaty should have existed, and if they wished... Anyway, that is besides the point. I would rather keep the guards for now, until you return. I promise I will look after them.
I think it would be a sign of good faith to let us take at least some of the guards back to the king, to make sure that he hears all sides and can tell that you didn't mean to harm them. That would be much better than us telling him, because we can't prove it to him. We didn't see them.
And all the gold that they were carrying, we should probably take that too, just in case. You know, it doesn't mean
the
anything
ones
to you.
who are dead, yes,
Yes, absolutely. We'll keep that safe too.
as proof.
Yeah.
Your words do have a ring of wisdom to them. Very well. I could let you take some of the guards as a show of good faith, and they can attest, that I did indeed look after them. There were some small minor bruises and scrapes from their capture, but I can assure you we healed them. None have suffered any kind of long-lasting harm.
Generous of you.
And the gold?
If they wish to give you their gold, then,
The dead ones.
as I said, you would have to ask the trees. Your gold would more than likely be, and she points to the ground, down there somewhere.
Do you have a shovel?
You know what? Sasha's right. We should go and broker a deal with the king.
He would prefer to have his borders guarded as best as possible. While this is happening, can I, excuse me, can I roll an insight check to just see if she's on the up and up?
Yeah, certainly.
See what happens. That's an 11.
She seems to you to be sincere in what she's saying. Yeah.
I don't sense any malintention. I think this could work out for all parties involved.
So we're going to go... Sorry, what was that, Iska?
There's no killing. It's not fun.
I know, Ishka, I know. No killing for you, outside for Benson. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's a nightmare, to be true. All right, your Henneth-ness. We'll go and speak to the king about not cutting down any more treaty. Well, he's sticking to the treaty. And if we come back and say that he's agreed and that they're not going to cut down any more of your trees, you're going to give us back the guards?
I'll give you the rest of the guards, yes. She lets out a very shrill, harsh whistle. That seems a lot louder than it should be. Yeah, it rings in your all's ears for a while after. And she says, the guards should be along presently. They'll have to take back with you, of course.
Your neighbors must love you. Right.
It's a large forest.
Sure.
Can I ask who put up the bounty? Like, who are we doing this quest for?
The bounty had been put up by the owner of the shipyard. He'd had an order in to make ironwood ships for the
Does
crown.
he work for the king?
Yes.
Ishka kind of looks at the paper.
Well, they work for the crown. Like,
right.
they're a royal shipyard, so whichever,
Kind of flashes it to Sasha and Taja, kind of like maybe they'll get what she's trying to say.
Right, well, it's been lovely.
As we wait, we'll kind of like mingle and maybe step aside. So you think that possibly the king has ordered this, Ishka?
Well, they probably cannot do something he doesn't like, and they probably are tired of this treaty and just want to do what they want. I am personally okay with killing this bear and this woman. I mean, I don't care.
It might be the same.
I think it is the easiest path to just walk behind her and slice and dice, as you do in cooking.
As you guys are talking, rustling from the trees, and the bear steps out Its head stands as tall as the woman's shoulder, even though it is on all fours. And yes, while it has the paws of a bear, it has a very distinctive bird-like head.
That's not quite the bear I imagined, but it is kind of a bear, I think.
Bird bear. Pigeon bear.
Imagine if that thing flew.
Chicken bear.
Be a lot worse than seagulls, Benson.
Aye.
Seagull bear. This is the word.
Along with a small, gnomish-looking creature, probably fae, not sure, steps out with it as well, with 3 guards in tow, who have, yes, been stripped of their armor, but, yeah, seem in good health. Your guard to take back.
To take back, yes.
The other 3 shall remain until you return.
Are you muted, Taju?
Very fair and wise.
Right then. So are we going to just be heading out of this?
Yep.
Yep.
Bushy.
Lead the way, Benson.
I don't know which way it is. I
Turn
can't see a
around.
spire or a rooftop or nothing.
Oh my gosh, incompetent. Let's go.
Let's. I hate nature.
Does anybody else have anything they wish to say to Hannah before you return on the path back out again?
Braklo is going to stand up and once more make sure that she understands how noble he is by saying, "We will take your message to the king and we will make sure that he hears it and come back with the answer he gives."
Thank you. While small in stature, you are indeed very great in words.
Taja will offer him another grape.
Once
think
we
this
get
is-
out,
This is slightly impractical right now, but thank you.
once we're away and she can't hear us anymore, Ishka's kind of like, if coming from very high-ranking noble family, I think my father would also just have this woman killed. I'm not sure what we should do, but I don't think he's going to agree with this woman.
Talk business when we're out of the grove, just in case she can hear us.
She did say trees.
Yeah, so eventually you guys follow the same path out, and once you move away from the campsite, that a silence that Ishka had noticed, it's the noise comes back again, the birds and the animals chirping and things like that come back, and it's back to normal forest sounds and things again as you head back. However, as you exit the forest through the road, there are a group of men, about 6 or 7 of them, arrayed across the road in front of you. And one of them just shouts, "Ha! So you survived. Unfortunate."
What do you mean, unfortunate?
Well, now I'm gonna have to go to the bother of killing you.
Why do you have to kill us?
You
We've got
weren't
guards.
supposed to survive.
Finally,
Were they?
Ishka's gonna just start sprinting forward with axe raised, like, ah!
And everybody roll initiative.
Ishka's been waiting so long.
These guys look like guards, or do they look like ruffians?
They look like mercenaries. They do seem to have an insignia on them. Somebody can give me a history check if they're really that interested in knowing what the insignia is.
Ishka's
14
got
history.
proficiency, so might as well. 16.
It's not even embroidered with proper silk. That insignia is just cheap, not even worth stealing.
Give me 2 seconds. Right, so it's just writing the initiative. So we've got title. I should have wrote this down beforehand. Note to self. Sasha. Ishka. Backwell, Benson. Right, what did everybody get initiative-wise then?
Aja rolled a 13.
Ishka 14.
Right, sorry. Taja was what, sorry?
13.
13. Sasha?
17.
Ishka?
14.
Vincent?
17.
Bracklaw?
21.
Ooh.
Nice.
Okay, so on 5. Is that 12? That's 15. Okay, who's got the highest dex or initiative modifier between Sasha and Vincent?
I have a +0.
I have +2.
Okay, so you'll go first then. So it is Bracklaw. As Bracklaw, you come out of the forest, you see the person begin to talk, and then the next thing you know, Ishka is screaming across the space between the two groups with their axe raised above their head. You, however, do get a chance to act. The party seemed quite surprised, and they weren't expecting this full frontal assault like this.
How many people are in the party, in the mercenaries group?
There were like 4, and then one who was talking that seemed to be kind of in charge, as it were.
Okay. Bracklaw looks at the whole group of people and thinks this might be a bit much, so he's going to cast mage armor on himself to make sure that he stays alive. And I would like to have him look towards the guards that we just kind of rescued and see if they look like they're going to help on our side or if they look like they know the people that are coming up against us.
The guards look angry, but they also look down, and you realize that they've been stripped of their armor and their weaponry, so they kind of like look, and you see a couple of them cursing as they automatically look down for their weapons as they realize combat's about to engage, and kind of they don't run away, but they do stand behind you guys, but they look determined. They look like they'd probably be willing to fight for their lives, but they have nothing to fight with apart from their bare hands.
Right. Just wanted to make sure that they're not against us from the behind. So
yeah.
I'm okay now.
That goes now to Benson.
So Benson sees what Ishka is going to do. Ishka has done this before. It's okay. She'll scream and she'll cut heads off. Sasha will go in and make sure that she doesn't die. So Benson is going to hold out 3 daggers to the guards. Take your pick, gentlemen. They all bite. So he's going to hand 3 daggers to the guards, 1 dagger each.
Right, I thought you meant the opposing guards. That's the second.
Oh, no.
Right, no, okay. Yeah, so the guards eagerly reach out and, no, thank you.
Now protect me, your great leader.
I twirl my moustache, and then I try and disappear into the background.
Are you trying to, like, hide?
Stealth, yeah. So
okay, yeah, so give me a stealth check then.
Stealth of 19.
Okay, yeah, there's still a little bit of undergrowth and stuff kicking about, and you manage to slink back into some undergrowth. And as far as you're concerned, you're quite hidden.
Fantastic. And then I'm going to try and move in so that I can perhaps get to a point where I can dash out and attack one of the guards, but that's only if they come close.
Okay. Sasha?
How far are they away?
They're probably about 60 foot. So good.
Okay. Do I get the sense that Ishka is just going to double move.
All you can see is just Ishka she's just raised her axe above her head and is starting to sprint off.
How far is Ishka ahead of me?
Not that far. He's 10 because she just, started
okay.
to is what was initiated the combat.
I'll drop my bundle of javelins and look to the guards and just be like, "Make yourself useful," and I'll move up 30 feet and then ready the attack if the guard engages me to attack.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, again, the guards are like, "Oh, weapons everywhere." So 2 of them take the javelins. The other one's like, "I'm never really good at the throwing of things," and just takes a dagger off one of the other guards and spins both of his daggers together, and takes up a defensive stance in the back as you run forward. And yes, plant your feet firmly in the ground and brace yourself for an attack.
Great sword at the ready.
So the 4 bandits are going to just all act together on their own initiative. So they all kind of charge. The bandit captain kind of like get them kind of thing as the bandits run forward, like all together kind of thing to get to within. I would say like 20 feet, 3 of them. One of them fancies his luck and rushes up to Sasha to, try and engage since this is the first one. The other 3 stop after they've ran 40 foot forward and just form a line. And you can see that they're smart enough to wait until the enemy comes to them. If they fear a solidified front against this raging tiefling that's barreling down at them, probably wise. So had you prepared an action? Yeah. Okay, so you can.
Okay, that is a 13 to hit. No, 15 to hit. Sorry.
Yes, that will. Yeah, that hits.
Okay. As this bandit or this guard approaches, I do a lunge with my sword and do 10 points of slashing damage.
Oh, so this bandit thinks, "Oh, it's just one. I can take them on." Well, the mercenary runs forward to meet you, and it doesn't predict how quick your reflexes are going to be as you swing round and just catch him. And just sword comes round and just slices across his stomach, as blood begins to like pour out. And he kind of just staggers to one knee before trying to pull himself back up again. And he's standing, but barely. And you see the other 3 behind him looking quite grateful that they decided to stop where they did. So the other bandits kind of just stand waiting for Ishka to barrel into them, I guess, because it's now Ishka's turn.
Can Ishka barrel into them? Like get to the 3?
I would say you could barrel into all 3, but you can get into one
get into
and
range.
like attack
Sweet.
one. Yes, definitely.
She'll just sprint forward and kind of leap and slam back.
As you're running forward out the corner of your eye, you just see Sasha expertly swing her sword and blood sprays as the mercenary in front of her just does not look good.
Smiles and starts cackling.
Yeah, so roll your attack.
Oh boy. Ooh, natural 19 for
That's
7
definitely a
points
hit.
of damage while raging.
17. You run forward, shouting with your. Is this a great axe you've got or a great sword?
Battle axe.
A battle axe. You run forward, two-handeding, and just as you get to the first one, slam it down, and it just cleaves straight through this guy's skull. With a spray of blood across your face, and the other 2 guards, the bandits, just kind of like. It says bandit there, they're not mercenaries. Just kind of stare in horror at what's going on. Tajo
will rush forward until he is within 30 feet of the guy in charge and cast Bane on him and the other 2 that have not been wounded yet. So they would need a charisma saving throw of, I believe, 12 or higher.
The bandits, 2 bandits fail. And you said on the bandit captain as well?
Yes, please.
He got a 13.
Okay, so the 2 that failed, every time they attack or do a saving throw.
Minus D4, yeah?
Exactly.
Ah, sweet. You, yes, run forward and, utter your magic, and you can see almost like a bit of a feeling of dread. They're not entirely sure why, but the 2 remaining bandits just start to look slightly unsettled. The bandit captain at the back just seems to hold his ground.
You have 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's now the bandit captain's turn, and he looks quite surprised that his guy's being felled quite rapidly. He wasn't quite expecting that. And, he just shouts, "It's no good, They will keep coming."
Why?
The king just wants you all dead, wants it gone.
Why?
I said as much. We kill you instead.
I don't know. We don't ask why. We just do as we're told.
Hibiscus shrugs.
Bandit captain suddenly realizes nobody's mouth was moving. Dizzy comes back to Bracklaw.
Bracklaw is gonna cast Firebolt on the one that Ishka was hitting already to try and finish him off.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
That is an 11.
That was just on the back. Yeah, that hits actually. No, sorry, no, it doesn't. Unfortunately, your bolt. I was looking at the hit point. The bolt just goes flying by, just behind the head. It's close, but not quite.
And Brad's gonna start flying and fly back a little because he's not sure if Taja is gonna move up and he wants to stay at a distance.
Yeah, that's fine. So you let go of your little firebolt, unfortunately just missing, and then back up. Vincent?
He's going to kill me, is he? Right, I see about that.
I pull out my bow and I'm going to shoot at him.
Yeah, go for it.
So he's not engaged with anyone yet, is that correct?
No, he's kind of taken up a defensive position after watching his,
and
boys go down quite fast.
There's still one mercenary standing next to Ishka.
There's 2, yes. Ishka's got a mercenary with his stomach, hanging open, and no, Ishka's got 2. Sasha's stood with one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to attack the one that is next to Ishka. Would that count as having an adversary nearby?
Yeah, it's in 5 foot. And you are a bush.
Yes.
Nobody expects a bush to fire an arrow at them.
No one expects the hibiscus.
So that is to hit. That is a 23.
Oh yes.
As this little crossbow bolt sails out for a grand total. Oh wow! Of 10 damage.
Oof. Yeah, that takes him straight into the chest, and he feels that as blood starts to pour for the wound, as he again realizes that this isn't good. He's barely hanging on now as he starts to drop to one knee. The bandit that just got shot, he tries to run away. He's like, "They're not paying us enough for this." And so, yes, Ishka, you would get an attack of opportunity as this bandit tries to flee.
13 to hit?
Yep.
And that is 12 damage.
Oof, yeah. It's already taken, as he turns around to get away with this arrow, as he's clutching onto it now, as the pain's just overcoming. He's like, "I need to get away from this." You just whoop, off with his head as his head rolls across the ground. The second bandit, seeing this, he kind of he stands his ground. He tightens his grip on his battle axe and swings for you with a nope. Completely misses because he's terrified. His hands are shaking as he tries to hit you. Just easily sidestep out the way. The one in front of Sasha, bleeding heavily. Was a 17 to hit?
18.
Oh, just clangs off your armor. He's lost a lot of blood. Doesn't manage to land a solid hit. And it's now your turn.
I'll just look at him and be like, don't even try. Look after your friend, both parts, and I will run up to the one that's attacked Ishka.
Okay, so you're running away from the one in front of you.
Yep, I'm trying to like intimidate him to like not attack me, if that's possible.
Okay, yeah, roll a quick intimidation check.
Okay. I'll take the attack of opportunity, but that's a 15.
Okay, he just drops his weapon. Okay. As he tries to, you're pretty sure there's a little bit of intestine trying to peek out there.
Excellent.
Puts his hands over his stomach.
I'll run up to the one on Ishka. Do you allow flanking? I'll try to get in a flanking position for advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And that's on the floor. That is a 16 to hit.
Yeah.
And that is 8, 9, 10, 11 points of damage.
Yeah, so you, say that the guy next to you just drops his weapon and holds up his hands. The bandit captain, he's looking quite angry now, and you just, with a disdainful glare at his cowardice, run over to Ishka, to your friend, and swing your sword around, straight down the back of this mercenary, and it just drops to the ground, unmoving.
I'll smile at Ishka and kind of do a, after you. And that is my
Thank you, friend.
Ishka, it is your turn. Sasha's just ran up and felled the last of the foes that maybe you were hoping to do yourself, but
I got I got a few of them. I'll sprint for the bandit captain now, screaming the whole time. You're next.
You managed to cover. Do you want to get into melee with him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you run into melee, but the captain had taken up a defensive posture and he was ready for you. And he attempts to take a swing as you come up to engage. And yeah, so he goes to swing at you, and his sword just is quite nervous at this point in time, and his hands must be quite sweaty, and he just kind of throws his sword across the field by mistake as he rolled a natural 1 on his attack, and the sword just aimlessly flies past you, and he's now stood in front of you, swordless, and gulps. And you can take
incompetent, and just scream as I I got a nat 1 too, so I just threw up my axe.
You run towards him, and he just throws his sword to one side. You run up with your axe, and you swing down, and you throw your axe into the ground, and you both now stood there, weapon.
I pull out fisticuffs, and I'm like, this'll do.
And Tajo, you are watching this debacle.
I turn to the bandit captain and says, I would run. And it's to incite him to do so, I will cast Sacred Flame at his feet on his boots, trying to light his boots on fire.
Okay.
So he needs to succeed on a Dex saving throw of 12.
Roll 3 for a 5. Yeah,
that's appropriate. He takes 1 point of radiant damage.
Yeah, you tell him to run, and this flame just shoots down between his boots, and they start to smolder slightly as he jumps in the air. And side eyes Ishka and disengages and starts running.
Coward.
Does anybody wish to chase, or are you going to let them run?
Yes.
Oh.
Ishka's gonna pull out her javelins, start running, and just throwing them at him.
He's pegging it. I'll let you get one attack in because it's his
Cool.
turn next, so he'd be able to, get away
Alright.
pretty quickly. But because it's a ranged weapon, I'll let you get it in.
Can I fire my bow at him as well? Because if
Yeah.
Ishka's continuing to run after him, I'd like to let Ishka have a bit of fun.
Yeah, go on then.
So javelin does not get rage damage. So that's a 20 to hit
Yeah.
and 7 damage.
Okay. Troomp, the javelin slams into, like just above the left hip kind of thing, and he staggers, but comes up and keeps running.
I got a dirty 20 to hit.
Yeah, from behind an arrow. Thunk.
Would I be able to use my sneak attack on him?
Mm,
In the bush.
yeah, because he's running away from you. He doesn't know that you're there.
He takes a grand total of 8 damage.
So the arrow trunk into his shoulder, as he just continues though to run away across the plains now at full pelt, and then there's a strange like warping in front of him as the air just kind of like seems to twirl, and he's sucked into it and vanishes.
What the hell?
Can I do an
Okay.
Arcana check to see what that was?
Yeah. Although you would know that it was some kind of portal or teleportation type magic. It looked almost like Dimension Door, but he did not cast.
Okay. Well, I got a 20 dirty.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a portal like spell, as if it's oddly doesn't normally happen, but yeah,
Somebody
he
seems
was
to
not
want
the
him gone.
caster. Yeah.
He's scared.
And as the camera kind of pans away now from our group as they stand surrounded by the eviscerated remains of their enemies, they're left wondering, is this their problem? If the king is now wanting them dead, do they still go and investigate? Do they continue with the treaty, or do they decide this is more than we need to be involved in and go on to greener pastures later?
Right, thank you very much, Laura. Thank you for running that, and thank you to my fellow players as well. And thank you for watching, and welcome the Anvilites who have lit up the forge with their raid. So thank you for joining
Light
us.
up the forge.
And so now, whilst I play a video for you folks, which is going to explain some of the rules, my players, and myself, will start to vote. So we're going to play video number 8. In the table management category of the Training Grounds scorecard, you'll see the first section is controlled environment. Now, this is not talking about you having a control over your environment. What happens, happens, but it's a control over the players at your table. You as the GM are responsible for allocating equal time to each and every single player, for stopping players who are domineering the table, and for encouraging players who are perhaps a little bit more reserved or shy, for example. The entire idea behind controlling your table is making sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to have fun. And why not? That is the point of this hobby, after all. Going hand in hand with a controlled environment is the section Equality of Time under the Table Management category on the scorecard. Making sure that every player and PC has the same amount of time to respond is critical. There are certain classes that might require the PC and the player to have more prep in terms of deciding what they're doing, but that doesn't mean that it should be fair that they get to take 10 minutes to decide on their turn what they're doing, whereas somebody else takes 30 seconds. It's equally not fair to say to the person who takes 30 seconds because they know the rules very well, it's not fair for them to complain when someone who's new to the game takes maybe a minute to respond, or less depending on the situation. It is up to you as the GM to make sure that the time allocated to each player and to each of their characters is equitable and fair, and that each of them has an opportunity to monologue against the villain or to take an action that's cool. Make sure, though, that not one of them who's perhaps more descriptive or charismatic starts to have more opportunity to engage because they're more entertaining to watch. You have to make sure that every player and PC gets the time that they want. Some players don't want the limelight. They want to be in the background. You have to read that as well and make sure that you're not then demanding that they come to the fore, because that's not what they want. That is a fine balance that only the best GMs know how to handle. A very subjective section under table management is sensitivity. When we're talking about sensitivity, it is across a range of things. Sensitivity towards people's phobias, to trigger words, to certain behaviors. All tables will have some kind of house rule with regards to flirtation and to seduction, as well as everything that usually goes along with that. Being sensitive to your table and to yourself is absolutely important. You don't want to offend anybody, and at the same time you want to make sure that everyone is allowing everybody else the equal opportunity to express themselves in ways that bring joy to the table. How you set the tone for that is very important, and what type of table you have is, of course, entirely up to you. So you set that at the very beginning and make sure to maintain it throughout the duration of your entire game. Here we're only watching 1 or 2 opportunities with the same GM to see how they handle that sensitivity, and so it can be difficult to judge on a short-term basis. It's entirely up to you, however, to judge yourself on whether you are open and sensitive towards others around you or not, and if so, is that something that you need to look at or to find similar people of the same mind frame? Either way, it's about making sure we all have fun at the table. And we're back, and the scores have come in. But before I show you those scores, Laura, how do you think you did?
I think I did a little better this time than last week. I felt a bit more comfortable, and I was trying to make more of a conscious effort to include people and constantly be mindful of the time. I pushed it a little, but to be fair, that was where it was going to end anyway. So it's, yeah, I think I did it right to the dot. But again, I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the most important things, absolutely. So if you do have a question for the GM or for any of the players, please feel free to drop it into chat. Put the word question in caps in front of your question so that I can see it, and then I will ask it to the relevant body. So just one thing before we go to the score. How much of this was part of your plan? Did we follow your course?
Yeah, mostly. My plan was loose, if that makes sense. I learnt my lesson from last time and just had encounters that I kind of knew and information that I knew I wanted to kind of impart, and then yeah, so I was able to be a bit more flexible or whatever kind of thing, and various outcomes. If you decided to fight the druid, that was a thing. If not, that was a thing. Just yeah, like fluid outcomes depending.
Were you surprised that we didn't just attack the druid? Because that was definitely on the cards for part of the negotiation.
It was a possibility. I had planned for the fact that you might decide to just, this is what we're paid for, we're doing it, you know. And that would have been obviously an encounter on its own, and probably would not have run, maybe he's not have run into the gods afterwards, or maybe a different encounter.
That's good. All right, let us have a look at, give me a second, because I've just realized that I'm hiding the actual score. So let's have a look now at your score. I think you'll be very happy with those numbers.
Better this time, yeah.
A couple 20s in there, which I think is awesome. Well deserved there. Now, if we compare that to your older scorecard, I will try and bring up the old
Definitely
one.
improved my sensitivity.
Yes, absolutely. So there we are, sensitivity from an 11 to a 20. Definite improvement there. If we look at pace, you said you wanted to work on your pacing. You shot up there by 4 points. Your tone you also wanted to work on. That was 14. You got it up to a 19 there. Adaptation twists, brought that one up as well. I don't think anything went down. I couldn't see anything off the top that went down as I was putting in those numbers. So I think overall, this is your final score. I think that's something to be very happy with. You were trying to increase your pacing. You were trying to increase your tone. I think you were a lot more consistent this time around with your tone than in the previous game. That's just me personally having the advantage of playing them both. In terms of your consistent application of skills, your appropriate use, all of that seems absolutely fine. That's all good. Story, you have, as you said, you've increased everything. I did feel like we got the time right, so I think that's pretty good. Although, as Master TMO has pointed out, the time management went down a little bit. But again, it went from, it's a 16, and last week you had an 18. You did get us to the finish line. I think in this case the time management was more a case of sometimes I think we were all being too polite in waiting to see what was coming up, or you were being too polite waiting for us to tell you what we were doing. That's the only reason why I can think of that there might have been a slight decrease. So, but other than that, everything else seemed absolutely spot on. The descriptions of the NPCs, I think there's some points lost there. This is from my side anyway. I sometimes was confused as to how many NPCs we were facing.
Got ya.
And I think you got confused between calling them bandits, mercenaries, and golems.
Yeah, it's because I had a bandit sheet that I just called up for the stats, but that's so as I was looking at it, that's what I was seeing. You know,
that's it. That's
when
it.
You're nervous, your brain just does weird things.
Yeah. So that's my general take on the thing. But I think overall, absolutely well done. Nothing to be unhappy with there. The sensitivity, just the few moments that you had before we started playing, you were able to ask everyone if there was any no-go zones and that sort of thing. So there we are. All right, I'm going to do a quick pass around. We've got a few minutes before we end the show, so I'm going to start with Tajo, or with Max, you played Tajo. What was your overall impression of the game?
I thought it was quite a bit of good fun. I enjoyed the part where we were doing the skills challenge and you kind of called us out and asked what everybody was doing. I thought that was great management of the table and making sure everybody was involved and engaged. So overall, great job.
There you go. Chaz?
I had a lot of fun. It was different from last time, which was great. I thought the pacifistic use of like the NPC and how I had the expectation we were going to go fight whatever was in the forest, and that was kind of subverted. I thought that was really well done.
Chaz, you've been on this before as a player.
Yes.
Do you see this slightly differently now that you have experienced playing for 90 minutes and do you think you're judging differently?
I think a little bit. I'm using like different styles to kind of compare and see, you know, each DM has their own sort of flavor and how they run the game. So I definitely took that in mind when judging. And also, I like to consider the short amount of time we have and how they showcase each individual part of their style of gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Cornelia, what did you think of the game?
I really enjoyed it. I especially liked that we had the option to decide like freely if we wanted to engage with the druids or not, and that we had such a good time looking around and trying different things. So it was a really great time. I had a lot of fun too.
Lovely. James?
A lot of fun. I like how rounded it was. We had the skill challenge, we had the social engagement, which could have been a combat, but then we also had a combat. So it was very, very well done, including bits and pieces of all these types of aspects to the game, and I think he did really good. And I tried to throw out some of those kind of wonky rules, or would you let me do this, and you handled it really well. So.
There we go. A little bit of subtle testing going on there too, which is always good.
Why not? It is training ground.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I only tried to derail the thing about 3 times, so that's absolutely fine. The cushion hunting, the pepper hunting, you know.
I was quite grateful when the rest of the party shut down the cushion hunting.
Oh yes, no, absolutely. And I think I have to say this. All of you...
go. Cushions have been banned in the city. Sorry.
Right, exactly. I have to say it was such a pleasure playing with all of you fellow players, because everyone just kind of got into it, and poor old Benson was shut down left, right, and center. But
That's
put in
on
his
me.
place. Yeah, I really enjoyed the sort of the time we had. Yes, I thought that was a lot of fun. So there has been a question in terms of this template for the GM rating system. Absolutely. You can download that from our website, www.greatgamemaster.com. The template is there. Or you can join the Discord server. That's discord.gg/greatgm, and you'll be able to find it there as well, with an explanation of how all of these scores and things work. So there is that. If you're going to use them on your own streams and things, just remember to at least credit us that this is where it came from. Now, Laura, what did you regret not doing? Is there anything?
I guess getting out a little bit more information about the kind of the situation. I was half expecting a little more questions to be asked of the person at the shipyard, who might have gave a bit more background as to why they needed the ironwood in a bit more in depth, and just the information behind the treaty and things like that. But other than that, no, not really. I don't think I regret.
Okay.
I fit in the things that I kind of wanted to fit in mostly. I was just bits of extra information and stuff like that. But I think that's every GM's. I invented this thing and they didn't know it.
Absolutely. So then let me go to Max. Is there anything that you would have liked more of?
If anything, just more of the social interactions. Probably in the beginning, I think it was more a function of us still getting to know each other and get comfortable bouncing back and forth. But nothing necessary from you, Laura. I think you did great.
There you are. Chaz, anything that you would like to have seen more of?
I mean, besides time,
Yeah.
that was kind of just same as last time. It's just more time. I think as far as like D&D sessions go, with the amount of time we had, it was great.
There we go. Yeah. Cornelia?
I can only agree. My point would have been to say more time would be great, but I really enjoyed having the option to talk to different people and just play off of each other. So I think it went great. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. James, anything to add?
I just what Max was saying. It was a little, first time jitters at the start, getting to know everybody. But yeah, Laura, you did great.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
There you go.
Everyone did great. Half the time a DM's only as good as their players.
Sure, that's partially true. I really wish that we had. I mean, we had a lot of investigation in this adventure, which I thought was really cool because it was quite different from before. And I think, James, you touched on it, that there was a social aspect, there was a combat, there was sort of an investigation type of thing going on. And I think that you demonstrated quite nicely how, by just putting it in different orders, because I think last week you started with the combat, and then it sort of went into the social stuff, and then sort of we went from there. And how just by switching it around, it's so much more we were going in and trying to get there and that sort of thing. So we were exploring and trying to figure out what the hell was going on, and then being double timed and backstabbed and all craziness and chaos. So anyway, there we go. We have reached the end of tonight's show. So thank you all for watching. Laura, thank you so much for participating in Training Grounds. You have done your 2 weeks and hopefully you have had fun.
Yes, immense fun.
There you go. Next week sees us with a new GM and a new set of players will be joining me as we put the new GM through their paces and takes us on a new journey in a totally different direction. Same channel, same time. And I think that's it from me to all of you. I have nothing much else to say except that on the 5th of June, if you are interested in developing your GM skills on the 5th of June at 4 p.m. UTC, so that's about, stand to be corrected, like 11 a.m., 10 a.m. Pacific time, somewhere around there, we will be running the Circle of World Builders Masterclass series, which is myself, as well as World Anvil, an amazing world aggregator website, and Dungeon Fog, which is an amazing battle map maker, and Kaora, who is a very talented cartographer. We'll be giving talks on how to make kick-ass campaigns and how to avoid being boring. It is free to attend. If you want more information, head on over to www.circleofworldbuilders.com and you'll find all the information that you could possibly want there. Anyway, from me and everybody here, I wish you all the very happiest of gaming. Good night.